Hello, everybody. Please, firstly, let me know how my mic sounds. Griffin reckons it sounds good, but as we know, Griff is a helpful guy, but he is not often the most reliable when it comes to tech, nor am I. Griff is doing this very early, and it is very early on the West Coast, so perhaps we won't have our usual, although very bright Griff, given the time.
Yeah, no, it gets daylight like 5:15 in the morning here at this time of year.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then it
I
gets
mean,
dark at like 9:30.
we maybe won't have our usual audience,
That's fine.
but the replay audience will be there.
That's
And
right.
Griff, today we're going to watch Nick Emmanwori,
Emmanwori.
Emmanwori, who we as a collective, as an Overload duo, are perhaps not as high on as others, and certainly
Right.
not as high on as the draft analysts who had this guy in the first round as their safety one and whatnot. We've discussed the pick in detail in terms of profile, brief kind of scouting nuggets,
Hmm.
jargon. But, Griff, there's nothing better than tape to look at when
Right.
you're assessing a guy.
Right. So we're gonna look at what we think we see with this player, and but try to relate that, connect the dots to what we think Mike and the team sees, and then what they can do with him, and what that means for our dear Seahawks. We got to think about like how they've stated they're going to use him
Mm-hmm.
nickel. Outside of that, they haven't really said much in particular. They just said safety, which can mean a host of things, probably along the lines of boundary safety. We did hear that he was getting some outside linebacker reps in camp, although I think that's more just him getting just edge or like blitz contain work, because when you're the nickel or the overhang as a strong safety in the
Mm-hmm.
slot and they blitz you, you got to be able to bend the edge a little bit on a running back or a tight end or something.
Well,
You're not
and
actually
in Mike McDonald's defense, Griff, of course, every player has to be able to rush the passer.
right.
He makes a big deal of that, and even Julian Love was rushing off the weak edge, showing down on the weak edge in those pressure packages, like the one where Leonard Williams got that pick six.
You're right.
So I think safeties have to be able to rush. But yeah, I'd be shocked if the outside backer stuff was more than that, maybe. But then it could be also like the big nickel role. You have him down on the line outside of a tight end with a end to his inside, playing head up on that tight end in like a reduced over type look. They dabbled in that occasionally, like against 12, like pair tight end type stuff
Yeah.
with Rayshon Jenkins. But
Well, we have to think about when they play big nickel versus 12 personnel.
mm-hmm.
Offensive coordinators understand how to formationally manipulate so that the nickel is to the run strength side. You get them to a tight end wing side, even get them into a nub side. But bottom line, where they're setting the edge, the nickel is, because usually the nickel, as we know, aligns to the passing strength.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't flop your nickel and will, as the offense changes their strength of the formation when they motion the
Mm-hmm.
tight ends around, you get the nickel matched up with the tight ends a lot in the run game, and that was
Mm-hmm.
something that McVay and O'Connell did a lot,
Yeah.
and it caused some problems for them.
And that Griffin, in theory, if Emmanwori is able to be a really good big nickel, that's the advantage and the kind of motivation behind this pick. Like, he can hold up, in theory, just body composition wise, better than a Witherspoon would be able to. Witherspoon can do it. He's actually very good against the run, but there's obviously the concern, just his size, like whether that's something you want to ask him to do every damn time Sean McVay or some other crafty
Right.
bastard starts trying to get you into the that type of scenario. So
Right.
anyway, we've picked the tape. We did promise a tape podcast, so we've picked Alabama as a game, Drift, that maybe isn't fair because on the one hand, it's his worst tape that we've seen from him at South Carolina. It's the
Uh,
2024 season. Let me just.
Debatable. There might be one that's even more unflattering.
Which game might be?
That might be the LSU game.
Oh yeah, LSU was pretty tricky. But this one is quite rough. But it's also nice because I think there are some. I mean, any player's going to have positives, but some positives in this game, and also it's good because we get to see Seahawks quarterback Jalen Milroe taking the snaps,
That's right.
and Alabama are a good team. Like they're not quite as good as they once were. Obviously, first year of a new coaching regime, but like they have talent. Like I think a lot of their concepts you can sort of see NFL teams running. It's not like Ole Miss where the offense, NFL teams all kind of copy college stuff and vice versa. But Ole Miss is a bit of a tougher. You you have to envision a bit more and
Right.
project a bit more. This is pretty nice. So
So shoot, is this a 2-for-1 then? Are we doing a legit Emmanwori and Milrow breakdown right now?
maybe it's a emphasis on Emmanwori, but a sprinkling of Milrow. If he does something which is really good or really bad, and a
Yeah,
true noteworthy play, then we'll
I'm
talk
listening.
about it. Griff's listening, but and Big O, good to have you in the chat, Big O. This Big O would, as you just asked, this actually would be a Milrow breakdown. So yeah. All right. Griff is listening. I believe he probably has some dog stuff to attend to. The other thing we'll see with Emmanwori, who is wearing number 7, of course, and he really does stand out because just of his height. But the other thing we'll see from South Carolina's defense is they do a lot of stuff. In fact, they do so much stuff that I almost used it as an excuse for maybe some of Emmanwori's technique deficiencies because the more you're asked to do scheme wise, the less you're going to refine your technique doing a certain thing. But yeah, I think what would appeal perhaps to the Seahawks is that he already knows. He's already been in positions where he's asked to do a lot of things, and Mike McDonald in an ideal world wants his safeties to be able to do a bit of everything.
So where's our guy? He's high to the
He
boundary.
Yeah, he's so tall that he's still showing past an official. And not much to say about this play, although already
It's like
on
a
the first
swing
play of the
screen.
game, you would perhaps like to see a bit more effort in pursuit to get to the outside. That may seem nitpicky, but remember, we've watched a few games of his, and his effort is kind of hot and cold.
He does have some really high effort plays.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
hot and cold.
right. Yeah. Emphasis on the
Now,
spectrum there.
Drift, just so you know, once we've seen a play, we can't go back. So if you want to
Yeah.
look at a play in more detail, I can rewind it, but I can't go back.
All right. Okay. That's fine. Um, oh, no. He's not. Is this the next play? No. He was down in the box.
It's the
Shoot.
next play.
Oh,
This is now the next play. Yeah,
my bad. Okay. I get it
yeah.
now.
So it starts with end zone before wide.
I got you. Okay.
So
So
now in the box.
he's in the box, and look, again, not to be nitpicky, but already, like, look at how close together his feet are when he's moving around. He doesn't drop his hips great. And he is and I did, all right, in the run fit here, he's technically your force player. No, not anymore. 6 kicks out. So I think actually South Carolina here busts. They don't know what they're doing. They
They're
don't know
kind
who
of
else to look at.
double rotated without the slide,
They're kind of bossed over. So someone's not checking correctly.
which
Um,
again, I think that is a theme. I'll just get my pen app up so we can annotate. But that is a bit of a theme to the whole defense, as I was saying, because they do so many different things. There's the occasional, particularly with motion and stuff. There's the mistake where
so they're
someone
gapped
doesn't
out,
get.
right? There's
Yeah, in
6
theory they should be
blockers.
gapped out. Where I'm just trying to bring my pen. There we go. I think I may have messed up here. I have 1 second. If we share the whole screen, you'll be able to see my pen. A bit rusty. Okay. So in theory, you would think it would be with this motion, or right.
Right.
Emmanwori's either got to be the force, or he's got to make this guy right. If this guy goes in the C or plays thick through the tight end, then he's the force.
Right.
But I think
So they get
maybe
like
they're
a little.
anticipating these pulls, but essentially with the pull Griff, it would be
So 6 is spilling. The edge is spilling. So then Emmanwori would
overlap.
overlap and become the force player.
Yeah.
And so I remember this play, like when he sees the puller in 81, the tight end block down, he should just be firing to the line of scrimmage, like just bat out of hell, like, oh, gotta go. Instead, his body weight is leaning inward. And then by
Yeah.
the time he realizes it's time to go out to the edge, he gets cracked.
Mm-hmm.
And then I wouldn't say he plays through the block very well.
No,
So
he's very late here.
he's about 3-4 beats late. And I don't even think he ever realizes what he's supposed to do. And then with 0, the linebacker also kind of going to the line of scrimmage. I think they just kind of bust as a defense. Like they clearly don't know what they're doing here.
Yeah, because they're sort of playing 3 buzz here with this guy outside, and then they like check into something else with all of this motion.
It's like they check back to Sky.
They're sort of uncertain on who should be doing what, which doesn't help because look at the snap, he's not actually set. And also, if his responsibilities have changed from playing in the hook and an interior gap to playing out here in like an exterior type gap, his eye progression is going to be slightly different. Like here, his main key, as Griff was saying, it would be that tight end through to the ball. But if he was in here, it would kind of be reading more the guard and the back. So yeah, there's a lot of moving parts. It's not, and I think the vision that McDonald speaks about here is it was like one of his first comments on how he was doing in training camp, on how Emmanwori is doing in training camp was we got to get his eyes in the right place, seeing the right stuff, and just simplify. And you can kind of see flashes of great plays when his eyes are in the right place, like against Ole Miss.
So like when his feet are moving the right direction at the snap, typically good things happen.
Yeah. And then here it's also Griff, like having the awareness that when you see this pull, right, you see run, he just never even feels that this crackback's there. And this is his worst game for sensing crackbacks.
I don't know what it is, but it's like every time it happens, he's surprised. And number 5 is 175 pounds.
Yeah, and then super sort of, I hesitate at timid, but it's sort of trying to run around the block. It's not taking that block on, even if you sense it there now. Like at least play with some violence. I suppose he does extend and get rid of it eventually, but he has long arms. There's a lot more you could do with that profile, and of course his corner has to tell him crack, 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 and we don't know if he did, but I'd imagine probably not, given how he's almost seems stunned by it. But and then you see how the length shows up in terms of what it will enable him to do, even if playing late. Like it's going to be an advantage, especially against that small type receiver, as you said, Griff.
Right. I gotta be one theme here that connects this play to a lot of his run plays is that you don't see him come forward.
Yeah, it's a lot of playing path of least resistance stuff and not being assertive downhill, right?
Right. Like at this play, the whole play, where he starts and the ball is snapped, he loses depth relative to the line of scrimmage the whole time instead of gaining it, or at least on that previous play.
Yeah.
Okay, next play.
So here it was in the box, then out of the box with playing the orbit or the
orbit
ghost
motion.
Yeah.
Orbit ghost. Yeah.
So I'm not sure we can take too much from that, but
Well,
with how
Kalen
it's
DeBoer
built.
is kind of disorganizing their defense quite a bit with all the
The shifts.
and change of strength and checking out how well South Carolina can get to their checks.
Yep. Short yardage. And Griff, if you want to rewatch something, just shout.
Okay.
So an empty look, and then yeah, this is a tough
Yeah.
play.
So
Yeah.
this is where like kind of true athleticism comes in. Again, anytime you're dealing with one play, it's dangerous because
Mm-hmm.
you can use one play to make any argument, good or bad. But his ability to change direction in the open field is frankly poor. And this is where I hesitate when it comes to the idea of, oh, he's raw, but he's so athletic, there's so much potential. I think however much potential there is, it's less than maybe most people think, is my opinion. Because again, change of direction is the most important trait for
Mm-hmm.
safety, and his change of direction is below average.
Yeah, and I think I said that he has a sky high potential. You know, if you clean up the eye stuff, you kind of get the lights coming on a bit more regularly for him. In a very precise role, he has like a really high potential, and you challenge that, Griff, for that reason. And I think the coaching staff have a really big job, and you know it's their job as coaches, but they have a really big job to try and nullify these change of direction things. Now, as a coach here, you'd be saying, "Hey, your change of direction's bad, but also that's been accented because your pursuit angle is wrong. Like
Right.
your
Or your eye
pursuit angle
progression
should
is
be
slow. Yeah.
for your eyes should be on this hip. You should be understanding that this guy is kind of be fitting here, and we have a guy on this hip here, and we have the corner coming here. And so really, I need to be almost pursuing like this type of curve. Obviously, I don't want to be too aggressive with it. This guy's gonna let me clear this up. This guy's gonna press downhill and fit this hip. This
Right.
guy's gonna press this hip. This guy's gonna press like this hip, and then this guy is gonna fit the outside hip as well. And already here you can tell that is a dangerous position because now I'm upfield and there's no one here. There's this guy if he was to go like this, but there's no one there. And
Well, and the other thing is look at the knee angles of all the defenders and then Emmanwori's knee angles.
yeah,
Or like the knee bend, that how low the hips are.
yeah,
You've
and
got one breaking down. Of course, the other guy's running in pursuit, but he's high hipped again.
yeah, and he's a taller prospect, so that's going to be a challenge for him. But you absolutely have to bend and break down your feet. Coaches will talk about longer strides into then shorter strides where you're breaking down. That's long stride, long stride, long stride. There's no attempt to break down the feet,
Right.
and it's at the wrong angle. So
Like
it's
those short choppy steps while staying square.
yeah,
Because it allows you to then make your final lunge in like omnidirectionally.
and you're controlled. You can sink your butt down, and then you can make the tackle. So there's sort of two cardinal sins at play here. There's an initial pursuit angle problem, and then there's a approach style or technique into the tackle that's bad. And the defender just, the receiver, he sees where the opportunity is for the space because they've got him kind of viced in here, and he sees how hot this guy and how high he's coming in, and also the fact that he's not taking away that he's giving that, and it's a nice juke, and suddenly we're giving up like what 15 yards.
Mm-hmm.
So here we go. This is what it looked like, I think.
Bottom of the screen, quarter safety, or now he's a flat defender, I think.
Yeah, it's the fire zone, I think.
Yeah,
Or maybe
so
just man.
kind of a. No, yeah,
But
you're
it's
right. He man on the slot at the bottom. And open field plays are hard because anytime the carrier has the two-way go, you're at a disadvantage.
yeah. But it's your responsibility in the open field to not give him a two-way go when you have help. Now,
Exactly.
you have your help in the post. You know he's pressing here. It's immediately, I cannot be running this path here because who has the hip here? My path needs to be pressing here. Now, I don't want to let him go up too upfield where I can't make a play and he then can cut back on this guy in a pure two-way go. But it's all about leveraging the ball carrier with your help.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just a poor, like, that already is bad. He already should be fighting to then stay here. It's running for the upfield shoulder regardless of where your help is and your help is. There's no
Yeah.
one helping here. That's your responsibility. So, and again, that's coaching. Like, I don't know how much, like, I think generally South Carolina guys played for the upfield shoulder, just whatever. Uh, these guys only have so much time to coach, but it's disappointing from a senior not to grasp that. And I'm sure I'd be shocked if South Carolina hadn't emphasized this, given his issues.
You can almost hear Chris Berman going whoop on that play right there.
Yeah, just like that as well. I thought that was pretty good. So we don't know where he was there, although already this
All right,
is
how
the
about
goal line. I just don't like the jogging. It's very nonchalant, but anyway, that might be nitpicky.
what does Jalen do here? He moves out the pocket a little bit. High
High
snap.
snap.
So it's like an inverted stick.
Yeah. It's like, I mean, it's really kind of like a horse.
He oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, it's kind of, well, is it are you calling that a juke route then? From
I mean,
7?
it's kind of like that, but with a stick, right?
Yeah, yeah. That's very
But also
DeBoer and Grubb, isn't it?
yeah.
So anyway,
Damn it.
he could throw the kind of the stick, the juke from 7.
Yeah, it's open, right?
He could. He elects not to. He so breaks the pocket. Now we're breaking structure.
Kind of a greedy play, but
But he
he's
kind of
kind of special.
he kind of manufactures this though. Like it's very controlled creation, right?
Yeah, he understands. Hey, this is not there, right? This is there, but I had a high snap, and I just feel like I need to buy a bit more time, and I know the space is here.
Right. He
So
understands. He clearly understands the coverage. So that's very like economical creation, and that's what I like when it comes to creating. I prefer guys that kind of have a process with among the chaos, and it's not just pure chaos, like reacting to everything. Because one is more sustainable to me than the other. I also like how he keeps his shoulders perpendicular, kind of maintains his base even as he's moving. He's not breaking stride,
it's
or
very poised, the whole
breaking
thing.
into a stride.
Very poised.
Yeah, I mean, that's a nice play for Jalen. I like it.
So Emmanwori, we think, is in a deep quarter, and we think he is essentially responsible for, first and foremost, making sure this guy does not cross his face to the inside, because I don't actually think he's going to get any help here. This guy's sort of opening to the 3. And he knows he has this guy kind of helping on any type of slot fade, which he does end up getting a slot fade. I think he does a fine job here. You see a bit of stiffness with how he fully opens up. Again, this might sound nitpicky, but just watch how he transitions to open fully. There's like a hitch there, which is a bit clunky. That's partly just being a higher guy. Okay, so Jalen's improvisation, creativity gets them down by the goal line.
Oh man, this play is rough, I think. If it's the same one I'm remembering. No, it's not this one.
Is he even in the play? Maybe he's matched up on a.
Yeah, he's out on the
Yeah,
bunch.
not much to say.
It's
Again,
fine.
though, if this, I mean, yeah, he's reading the ball, but it's a late check from the defense, which isn't ideal. I don't know.
That might be a coaching thing because it's not just him
Oh
getting
yeah,
set late, you know?
no, it's not. No, that's not. Yeah, that's not on him at all. That's them getting out coached. Slash Alabama causing early issues with their game plan, which you can't always
Right. Yeah, like
anticipate as a
a
coach.
Kalen
Yeah,
DeBoer opening script is not fun
yeah.
for a defense. All
Again,
right.
like
This was the Alabama was the first game I watched, and this play gave me the ick, Maddie. And this play I was like very cynically, and this is pre-draft, right? So you're allowed to be more off the wall with your things. But this is a play that made me think like this guy's not a football player, really, which
oof.
is harsh. But
Okay.
I
So
really was not a fan of this.
so again, we're seeing like the late theme of or the common theme, sorry, of being late to get aligned and lined up, and that's across the defense. Really, they've put a check in where they're trying to get 3 over 3 for the bunch when they only had 2 over 3 on the last snap, and really, I'm surprised Miller didn't flow the football. Clearly, it was a handoff, must handoff type thing, and they probably went up tempo into it. But you would like again, I think he should throw the ball here.
So he's look all right. Before you even look at his body, look at the other linebackers in the box because he's a second level run fitter. He is straight up and down. Hands aren't even down. And look, the other guys coming forward. They're in their read step. Like, dude, it's a DB in the box, right? Like that's kind of like all the stereotypes of, well, he's just a DB in the box. Like he's not. He's living up to that negative stereotype of he's not being a box player right now. And so he's also the edge, the force player. He's got the puller. He has to box 81. And 81 is a small tight end. That guy's like 230. He's not 250, not 260. That's a 230, 235 tight end. And so he should be meeting him like 2 yards down. Look, and then he backs up.
This is terrible.
He backs up. This is the other thing, like the Cam Chancellor comparisons. 7 hates contact. Number
That
7,
really annoyed me. Yeah,
number
that
7,
really
South
annoyed
Carolina
me.
does not like contact. He
Yeah.
backs up, and then so he gains ground into the end zone, man.
This is path of least resistance type stuff, but it's also like the whole situation's goal line, as you said, Drift. Like, just even if you're wrong, like just try and knock the crap out of that
Do
guy.
something. Do
That's the
something.
goal line. Make a play. Like, just be physical, be violent, and there's nothing like that. And standing up, backing off to try and get 2 arms on the block, which again, like if you teach a different block destruction technique, maybe that's what he needs. In this situation, like more maybe a near shoulder into that block and then extend. But there's nothing like that there, and
Well, and I
obviously,
think part of the reason why he backs up is because, like you said, he wants to get 2 hands, but he's not able to sink his hips without, like, he can't just do it in any given position he is. He has to gear up for it. So he has to drop his feet. I mean, like vertically drop his feet so that he can horizontally drop his hips.
yeah,
Like, or as in like vertically, like put his feet behind him so that his hips can get low.
it's
Like,
annoying that we lost the end zone. I don't know why I didn't get it up there, but well.
what do you think about that play? As far as
Well, I
diagnosis
mean,
goes,
again, there's a lot of mess going on. It's a similar front to what McDonald runs in his base stuff. I,
so
I
with the
don't know
puller
what his
though,
job is, but he should be looking to. Surely it would be.
He needs to box the tight end because I think 55 is
Where
spilling.
yeah, 55 would go in and he would go outside that block and make the tackle, right?
So essentially, Emmanwori has to think, I can't get beat across my face by the tight end.
Yeah, because and again, there's clearly like a lack of defense understanding here. Like, is this guy staying front side and then falling back in here? And is this guy just pressing here and then falling back if it hits there?
Well, because you also have the quarterback keep threat as well.
Yeah, which is why they're spilling to then BS it, right?
Right.
But my issue is this bit here. The crossing over, because his linebackers read what we were saying. His linebackers read that he presses here. They also bring this into the picture. And then he cleans up / falls back a bit. This ends spilling, going to spill this block here. He needs to be able to redirect outside over the top of the edge, like his backer kind of did. You don't want to backer in the same gap.
It's too late
this
now.
This didn't help. But Emmanwori like should never be beat outside by the number 0 here. Like, it just speaks to the key difference here, and then the footwork difference. And the low hip difference, and obviously this is a shorter player. But if you watch number 0, and it's not the best rep, I don't love the clicking of the feet, but he's able to get his cleat in the ground and redirect. Contrast with a gate slightly open, so already that hip is somewhat locked to then go back outside. And contrast with the wide clicking, the sort of tripping up my linebacker, and we're crossed over almost, and then we're hopping, so we're not taking controlled steps. We're hopping, which means right foot, which you need to plant to be able to redirect outside, is out of the turf for a while. And part of that's because he tripped over his guy, who maybe shouldn't have been there. But he should be squarer, more controlled in how he shuffles.
Well, and the reason why he doesn't stay square is because he can't gain width without opening his hips up, because he doesn't drop his hips. So in order to gain width, he has to open his hips up and change the direction of his hips so that he can move via a stride with one foot in front of the other, because he can't shuffle laterally. Like, physically, he can't do it. And that reflects in, well, it's an estimated 3-cone, but like Sumer Sports, via GPS tracking data, they estimate a 3-cone, and this 3-cone would have been 35th percentile. And it makes sense for a 6'4", 228-pound body that he's not the best lateral mover, because he's a sprinter. Sprinters don't change direction very well. If they could, Usain Bolt would have been in the NFL, you know? So, like, yeah, open hips to cover width for him. And then he's late. And again, that's a tough concept. NFL players get got on this all the time. Good ones too, you know. But he's just not really giving the play any sort of chance.
Yeah, but yeah, his job here, essentially, with how this plays out, his job should have been to take that on for the corner to make the tackle, right? I don't know what happens to this is there's a rough moment for the end or this guy as well, but and this guy has a rough rep, but yeah.
Yeah. And again, like, the misdirection is tough for the whole defense. It's an opening script still, as we said.
It's at the 1, so you're trying to take a shot in a way, but yeah. Yeah, it should be surely bang, bang, bang. But anyway. Okay. So now... Okay, so this is a big this is a big thing.
Yeah.
Lance, actually no, I don't need to. I don't need to do that. Like some scouts, like someone
Oh
maybe
dear,
called
Maddie.
Lance, said he
Oh
was
dear, Maddie.
like cautious to come downhill. I think we have seen some of that caution, but I think we need to explain something that South Carolina does schematically, to like fully assess some of the cautious downhill. So we'll look at this play. I think he's in the cover 3 assignment here, underneath. So big things South Carolina did was they played these guys really heavy, almost playing into the A's.
Mm-hmm.
This guy would have one of the gaps, so probably into the B gap, and then one of these guys would play into a B gap. And how they decided that was off where the QB's eyes were. So the QB's eyes are going away, and so Emmanwori's in the fit. This back is clearly playing into the fit. And the other Apex out here, who we haven't even seen, but I'm pretty sure he's out there, he's out of the fit to play the RPO.
Oh,
If
so these are uh RPO fall fits.
I think so, yeah, with a post safety. I think I haven't even seen the wide angle,
Okay.
but if Milrow had looked at Emmanwori, so like a flop RPO, so away from the
Right.
back, Emmanwori would have held, and the apex would have come from here, and he'd have looked
44 would.
cautious coming downhill because he was being cautious coming downhill. He was playing past the run,
That's okay. Yep.
which is a really cool thing that they did.
One thing we should make note of, even though he's coming down being a true box player, I think, right?
Yeah,
In McDonald's scheme, the safeties aren't in the run fit when they're in too deep. Like they don't even read step. In fact, like their first step, no matter what they key run or pass, is to their pass key.
yeah.
So like they will lose depth, or rather gain depth, negative depth behind them before they come forward. So
In
that will clean up
in
some
too
of
high.
his in too high. Yeah. Like you never have a safety fitting a C gap from a quarter in McDonald's defense, unless it's like 22 personnel and they're still in
Yeah,
quarters or something.
but like against this type of formation, that's not going to be a thing.
Right.
But you would have a safety responsible for a gap if they were the curl to flat player, right?
Indeed.
Right.
Indeed. But I
So,
say that to say that will simplify things for Emmanwori a little
mhm,
bit in Mike's defense
mhm.
compared to South Carolina.
Yeah, agreed. So what we see here is if Milrow had looked for like a glance out here, then the backer would have pressed up here and fit in the B, and this guy would have cut into the run fit, and he'd have played like in the slant window. But because Milrow looks out here, he triggers downhill, the backer presses up here, and then fits off this, and
which
then
is
this guy's out of the fit.
which is a pretty schematically ambitious way to defend the RPO. Because I mean that's like the way to do it. The ideal way to do it
Mm-hmm.
is to be flexible like that,
And they're pretty good
responding.
at it as well. Like
Yeah,
it was the best thing I saw from South Carolina's defense. I don't know how much. I don't think it translates to the NFL as an actual concept because not so little of NFL stuff is that like flop
right,
RPO, and the
right.
reason you do it is because teams can throw the RPO away from where the running back is in college,
Hmm.
and you have uh, more lenient downfield blocking rules.
And
However,
right,
what I
and the
think,
hash as well. But
right, right. However, why that's relevant is not just because I had issue with some scouts saying he comes downhill too slow. I think the greater relevancy of it is it shows that when he's told to read one thing,
mhm,
like I didn't see him mess this up. Like he did it right every single time. And so it
agreed.
is some promise that when his eyes are in the right place, like he will do better things and he can play faster. So
Yeah.
here he reads this very quickly. You can see this guy waiting for the RPO because the guy's looking at him, and he does come downhill, and there's some track awareness. It's not amazing. You'd like him to come into that with more violence, but yeah. Anyway, let's get things moving. Don't think he was in the fit here because I think they gave him a detached 2. Yeah.
Up top to the boundary.
Like seam matching it.
Yeah. Kind of an inconsequential play for him.
Yeah. You kind of see how high a player he is, right? But yeah. Griff, the Kyle Hamilton comparisons with his game, well, not his game, but like his profile, tall guy, gonna be played in the nickel, that sort of stuff. They're kind of prominent, right?
Right.
What like does Kyle Hamilton change direction a lot better than him? Is that what you're saying? In the open
I
field?
mean, Kyle, for them being the same physical profile in terms of size and like density and distribution and everything,
Yeah.
they're kind of the inverse of one another athletically.
Yeah.
Kyle's slow in a straight line and fast in a curved line.
Very different athlete. Yeah.
Emmanwori is the opposite.
Okay, so this is a clip I think you've tweeted out before.
So off man in the slot, I think press man in the slot, he is quite good. Off man in the slot, it gets trickier. And you see him open his hips up early, and that leads to him getting beat across his face a little bit. If Milrow was, this was like Stafford or maybe even Purdy, and they're just willing to just drill in an inbreaker, they'd hit that. And Emmanwori might be dragged behind him and make the tackle at the point of the catch. But to me, the reason why Emmanwori gets beat across his face a lot when he's an off man in the slot, and this would also apply for like off zone match seam carry, is because he opens his hips up early because he doesn't trust his transition speed to flip his hips completely vertically for a vertical route. So he's defending the most dangerous route, which is smart, the threat of a slot fade or a seam.
Yep.
But he doesn't trust his ability to open as they declare vertical. So even though he's got all this speed, he still opens early and plays it conservatively, which then ends up yielding underneath routes.
And you can see that's the taught technique at South Carolina. Like the buddy down here has it even worse because he opens even earlier with the vertical stem. They're probably anticipating some type of 4 verts, which, I mean, this is kind of just 4 verts with them reading the slot defender technique.
So that's not a good position to be in to have to transition to an inbreaker where your hips are literally facing the sideline.
Right. If you're going to play this technique, you'd want to open a bit more gradual. As soon as you are turning where you're pretty much having that point upfield, that's where, and he's in this position, he's beat you across your face. You're not in a position to then pivot back. You're fully opened essentially. Like really, it's this hip is facing that way now. So.
And a more agile player would be able to plant the left foot and kind of pivot off of it and keep and hinge open with the right hip, right foot.
Yeah.
But
and in college, you're allowed to make contact like this downfield with the ball not in the air. In the NFL, that's defensive holding. And it's ticky-tacky here anyway.
But I don't know if he has any press man slot reps this game, but that stuff is I think he actually feels pretty comfortable with press technique. That's where his physicality in his frame really does apply.
This is a pretty good look at the eye progression. Like he sees this is his key. Primary key. He sees that guy block, so then eyes to the backfield. I mean, ideally, you'd want him seeing through here and seeing that's quite a high hat and it looks like pass pro, but he sees the ball fake. He stays fairly square. The problem, I guess, is this is very clunky movement in the feet, like, and the just the like the purposefulness, the intention behind the footwork here. It should be okay. I need to then quickly put this foot in the ground and pivot back. Look how many extra steps and inefficiency and movement there is here to an indecision of which way I'm opening up. There's a lot of things going on there. There's some I think assignment hesitation or lack of clarity, and then there's also the footwork and inefficiency and movement.
And so if people think like this is harsh, like those extra beats that he takes in the box is the difference between a leveraged play action crosser and a one that goes right over your head. So like against Kyle Shanahan, you're dead right here. It already happened.
It doesn't matter how fast you run in a straight line if you're not running in that straight line in time.
Right. Like the run pass play action diagnosis has to be instantaneous.
And with how they played their safeties, actually that's something a bit weird, I think. I think he's in man coverage there. Yeah, I think he's in man coverage.
Well, and if he's in man, then he probably knows he can take a little bit more time.
Yeah, but regardless, like it would be cool to. If he was quicker at how he'd read that, believe it or not, guys, but he'd be accelerating sooner, so he'd be in this window, but he's not in that window. In the end, they don't keep running because it's man. But anyway,
you see, what do you think about? What did you think about Jalen there?
Shoot, it was good, right? Like it's this type of thing Kubiak will look to dial up. What was the problem you saw?
Kind of that deep play action. Was that a bench route or a comeback? I didn't quite see it, but
it was a deep out.
Deep out. Because we know Kubiak likes to deep out the bench route. Okay.
So kind of a similar deal here. Like the hip flip is odd, and then the angle downfield is a bit odd, but it's a bit better. He's just had a rep practicing it, I guess. So reads the pass pro. I think that's still quite a slow key, but I mean, if you want an example how it's a slow key, you can see how quick the backers key that's pass. Obviously, their primary key gets out on a route, and this, could be QB draw, but like the backers aren't thinking that. Even number one, he's very slow to kind of process what's going on here, relatively. Then you are, again, we don't know how the defense works. It's clearly not a pure spot drop team, but he's slow getting back. He's a tick slow. Which is why a lot of the work they were doing with him will be on what are your keys. His depth is actually what, and his depth does give him more time as well, but his depth's what enables him to be here. I don't love the angle of running like this when you're on the upfield shoulder already. You're still an underneath layer in the coverage, right? Maybe that's harsh.
I think it's probably fine, given the concept. Are you worried of him overrunning it? Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it is just cover one again. Or maybe not, actually.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I think he's like... I don't know. No, it's not cover one, though.
It's like 3 high zone, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's like a deep third player, so yeah. Which again, big thing we should say, McDonald really dabbled in 3 high safety looks on passing downs, having experience in that already. I think they'll have liked to have seen, and it makes it easier for the coaching staff to envision how does this guy fit in our stuff if they do similar already. And then the tackle, Griff, is kind of already coming down, right?
Yeah. Jalen again being kind of poised.
Yep. This is one of his better games, I think.
I would definitely say so, yeah.
Okay, so not in the run fit. He's on the number 2. Kind of a weird transition, though, it looks like. We get like a pedal. So let's just cover 4. I mean, he unlocks the hip.
Yeah.
Nearly trips over it, but he unlocks the hip. Is it not this type of stuff where you see it and you're like, it'd be interesting to see him play with a sideline as his defender, as an outside corner?
That's definitely another example, yeah.
That look like some 2 read, or just breaking on the ball. Just breaking on the ball. I like how he weaves. It's rare that we see him weave. He's weaving a bit though.
Just keep inside leverage.
Yeah, because he's on the 2 receiver side, and this guy's 3 vertical. So you have no help here deep. So it's very important once he's cleared the curl, who's your underneath inside help, that you do not let him get here. So, and you've got the help here on the slot fade, like we saw very early on in this game. That's pretty good. Big cushion. But, like, how cool, Griff, would it here be to see Jalen just rip this?
Yeah.
Like, because
The umpires.
the officials kind of annoying, right?
Yeah. That would have been a great example of a play from both Jalen and Emmanwori to kind of see,
Who's
like,
got it?
would he drive on that, like collide at the O and crimson there? I don't know.
Because he is reading. Yeah, because he is reading the QB in these moments.
But weaving with the leverage or weaving with the receiver to maintain inside leverage is good. Kind of like the nuts and bolts of quarters technique.
Which McDonald, of course, runs a fair bit of. Oof. Alabama had some crazy things happen to their pass pro this year.
Yeah, definitely. Not what it once was. Where's our guy? Boundary again. Boundary slot. Looks like man, like some sort of blitz coverage.
The way he's tapping the head as well. It looks like a very obvious cover 0 right now.
Yeah.
Which I think they got by, was it LSU just caught them in 0 constantly and just kept checking into the 0 beta?
Mm-hmm.
Which again, like, in terms of that being a bad game for him, is a bad game for everyone. They didn't check the protection into something, which we don't know how much Jalen has in terms of his authority on the offense. But either like you'd like maybe the coaching staff to give him the authority to check into some type of 7-man protection to like give you time to pick this up. But Griff also here, like, you've got to know that if they're all coming, where's your hot throw? They do drop out, which is a bit mean, but and this is not friendly, but it's interesting he picks the stick route again on that same concept they saw, and not
the quicker
the
boundary
shortest
throw.
Oh, well, I guess he actually kind of messed around too. Just bad offense, like from everyone here. Like, is that really meant to be his hot throw, or this? Like,
Remember that was well, interesting about that. That was what Grubb seemed to have Gino's hot throw be out of
yep,
empty 5-man pro quick game. It was like the field hitch route.
yeah.
That's where Gino kept going consistently. So maybe that is coached into him. I don't know. Could be a DeBoer Grubb thing.
Any thoughts on this transition?
From Emmanwori,
Yeah,
uh, you kind of see him stumble a little bit. His ability to drive down is impeded. If it was a throw, he'd probably be a step later than he had to
yeah,
if his T step was more clean. But
yeah. A theme to him is
there are some plays of him
sometimes trying
straight
to
up tripping.
plant and drive out of the pedal. Sometimes, particularly when it's like, hey, we got to go now. He
Yeah.
stumbles, he slips. I don't know if there's one reason or if it's a combo, but I mean, here he gets so wide out of his. Again, it comes from being high hipped,
Right. He takes a wider step so that his hips can get low
which is then why he slips.
because he can't do it with his feet in a regular shoulder width apart position.
And that's not as bad a slip as some of the others on his tape.
Like the
I think
LSU game, he's tripping all over the
I
place.
think we'll get one in this game as well. Okay, so little check. Look, look, it's so nice. Like here, they were gonna be playing one of these guys coming in the fit because it's trips, and they were gonna read where the QB's eyes were. And now it goes to 2x2, cover 3, 2x2. You can just cover down, and play these guys in the fit, and not worry about the RPO. Worry about the quarterback keeper though.
True.
Anyway, I think they're playing man though here, based off leverage and posture.
Man off in the slot.
I mean, his
Uh,
in terms of giving up the catch, he's going to give that up with how he's playing it, so
it's
it's
it's being
fine.
yielded, right?
Yeah, like he's playing the slot fade first and foremost, which is fine.
But
In
inability to break down and stay square when closing distance on a ball carrier.
again, your aiming point is just
Look at his aim.
awful.
Yeah, I mean, he looks like he's aiming for the
The
yeah,
coach, like if it's a perfect angle for the coach.
like he should be aiming for like the 3, like the bottom of the 3 and 30.
And again, like sort of spatial awareness of like the short side of the field is here. There's no and like my relationship with this defender, I've got this amount of cushion. So what angle really should I be driving here? The sidelines will help. Um,
So,
and yeah, yeah.
and
And you
then
have the speed to be able to get like. I get he's given the catch. You want to make the stop short of the sticks. It's 1st and 10, but you have this make-up speed to be able to run this down from the inside and not do what happens here. This is like what a player who's terrified of being beat to the field on the out and then turned upfield for a touchdown would do. Not to the short side with the sideline, and when you have speed and also he's slowing down now. You're coming in just way too
right,
hot, and what happens from that drift is a complete arm tackle. There's no
yeah,
shoulder. There's no
he's an
chest involved.
arm
There's
tackler.
and it's high. It's not even an arm tackle around the laces. It's really high because he hasn't broke down and he's tall. And so yeah, that's going to be a broken tackle. And
It's
the
just
difference there is because it's the short side. It's a first down versus 5 yards, but
right.
they will add
And
up.
and so I think it might be the LSU game as well. He has some plays where he comes down and does make this play,
Yeah,
but
and I felt
it's still arm tackling though, even on those plays where he swings around it
yeah,
like a tornado.
yeah, and that from a durability perspective, that can lead to shoulder injuries because think about it, you're ripping through a guy, putting so much like torque through your shoulder while twisting, like
Yeah.
it can rip your shoulder out basically. Yeah, so I felt like the Clemson game, he was playing more violent. I don't know if it's because his last college game or whatnot. There still wasn't really the breaking down, but there was some physicality at least.
He broke down more his freshman year, and oddly, I thought his freshman year tape was his best football. And I would actually say, if I were to rank his seasons, it would go freshman, sophomore, junior.
Mm-hmm.
He kind of progressively got worse
Was.
throughout his college career, and that makes you think, was the coaching not there for him? But
Mm.
like his college coach was Cam Chancellor's college coach. South Carolina was a good ranked defense, a well ranked defense, and it's just kind of bizarre. It's a bizarre career arc for me watching his film unfold.
Yeah, so Colin saying in the chat, kid spends a lot of time on the heels of his feet. I hope they can coach him up. What seems to be a lack of instinct or awareness. On that first point, Colin, I think that's a great point. Like, if you're on the balls of your feet, you're stanced up, you're naturally sinking lower. You know, your angles are nice. And here it's when you're on the heels of your feet, you're standing up, and your hips are going to be higher. Your whole angle is going to be pointing upwards, not stanced up, not down to the ground. Not much power, not much control. So yeah, good point, Colin. Griff here, it's a false start, but I think it's a good example again of the pursuit angle. Look at the angle, and they're ahead in front of the body tackling team, so they're always being slightly more upfield. But he takes basically the pursuit angle that his buddy's taking, when really he should be taking that angle there. He should be here. He runs upfield. Anyway, like, how does he end up in that position? Look where his teammate is. So
You remember the play where it's quarters and he gets beat across the face this game?
yep, we'll try
I
to
wonder
get
if
to that.
I wonder if that's coming up or not. It's a really illustrative play for
Is that how you say that word?
illustrative or illustrative.
I say illustrative, yeah.
So I used to say illustrative, and then I heard someone say illustrative, and I was like, "Oh, that sounds way cooler." So I adopted it ever since.
Nice. This
And
is a
I'm
pretty
much
good play in terms of reading and then coming down, and good downhill angle-ish. Doesn't break down, which, I mean, I don't love that.
yeah, it's
Like, so why
fine,
he's so wide with the feet though? I know he's got big, long legs, but
dude. He's 6'4", 230 pounds, man. Like, and he's a sprinter, so
but
that's why.
okay. So Cam Chancellor, we talked about how Kyle Hamilton has different change of direction. How did Cam Chancellor approach these change of direction things? Because that was a knock on him coming out,
Well,
and
Cam was also high hipped, but Cam
yep,
just had feet control.
yep.
And then also like his eyes were like
His keys were phenomenal.
he was like 3 plays ahead any given play. So he
Yeah,
just knew where
and
and
players have
that
spoke about his tape study being like
yeah,
the
like
shit.
all those guys were like football geniuses. Like that's kind of that can't be understated. Earl, Cam, Sure, and Bobby, like they're all football maniacs, so brainiacs. So that's part of it, and that goes to this point. If your keys are really good and your tape study is really good, that can mitigate so much athletic deficiency.
And Mike McDonald did mention that Emmanwori's been in his office a lot, so maybe he is a
That's
grinder, maybe he is studying, maybe he is working hard.
right. That's all good stuff. So
And as we always say, like the thing with scouting, like us watching in our bedrooms or watching a guy from afar on tape, we don't get the massive part of scouting, which is the player's makeup, his character, the
right,
intangibles.
right.
And that's an inexact science anyway. Okay, so peeling off the edge here again, like from a McDonald perspective, just having some reps doing this, like he'll deploy his safeties and nickels sometimes, as we spoke about, it's a comfort thing, similar to what McDonald does there, dropping out the D tackles. Might
Not
be
a
a
good,
play to look at Jalen here as well.
yeah, not a good sack for Mr. Milrow.
Yeah, I mean, they call mesh as the man beater, right? And they pop out right into the mesh. I don't know where he could go with the ball, to be fair.
Well, mm, Yeah, you're
Like,
right.
kind of
So
covers.
Emmanwori covers the first read in the progression well.
Yeah.
The flare from or the wheel from the running back. That's the
The
first read.
and good job, whether it was coincidence or not. I think we credit him here. He gets over the top of that route well. He doesn't get rubbed,
Hmm.
and that's some awareness and maybe some good communication from his corner that hey, my guy is tight, and we're showing man here. We're showing zero here. They're gonna get into a man beater. So let's work that out. So yeah, really good way of navigating, and I like the hip angle here. It's still very high, but it's accomplished.
It
Good
works for him. Like
turning inside receiver.
we have to think about what works for him in a functional sense.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So like
Yep.
that works for him. Like that's Emmanwori making it work for him as a mover.
Mhm. That's a funky play. Really funky play. Is he the flat guy or is this man? No, it's not man. It's like Rip Liz, right?
It's oh yeah, he's to the it's 2x2. That's strange. Yeah, South Carolina would do stuff like this.
Well,
I
they
think
because they like showing. They're trying to show that 4-3 box that they like showing, and then are we high or are we not?
we'll
It's
we'll,
pretty
we'll see.
bad disguise.
To trips, they would do the thing where for who has the weak hook and who has the flat based off of the back release, like
Yeah,
the
like
three sight
sight or
release.
key.
But
Yeah,
they would kind of present the same look versus 2x2 as
yeah,
well.
yeah. I actually
That's
like their defense the more I watched of it.
hmm,
Like schematically, they do some good, like cool stuff.
yeah,
They got destroyed by LSU in the cover zero thing though.
yeah, that was an interesting choice. So I think he's the hook defender, and I think the will linebacker screws up.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think we can put that there. All right, so this is oh, hmm. So he's in the fit right now. Basically, it would be they run a game here, but this would be force C one of these gaps, right? Or is it
Um,
a corner?
so in this scheme, zero works over 57. So I'm trying to think.
Well, they stunt down though.
Right, but so you would think it would be an exchange between the three technique and the will linebacker, but
Well,
zero works over
I'm wondering if it's uh
unless the nose works is supposed to work over the top of the three technique,
yeah, and
like
then
a
maybe this guy plays like he's almost still reading for the RPO, right? Hmm. Maybe not actually. I need the wide angle.
anyway. I hated how he got cracked here.
Yeah,
I,
so poor. Like this was
I
his worst game for getting cracked and just not even. Well, but he recognizes it now, and I think pre-snap as well. He's cognizant of as they motion. He glances over there. See, look there. He sees how tight that guy is. He anticipates the crack pre-snap, but
dude, number 2 Ryan Williams is 18 years old and he weighs 175 pounds.
and like look how tall. That's not look how wide and tall,
Like
and look
Cam
at the stance here.
Cam wouldn't even bother with his hands. He just throw his entire shoulder through number 2's sternum.
While
And
while sinking his hips down.
yeah,
Cam's shoulder ability to throw his shoulder and destroy blocks with his shoulder. I mean, ultimately, is that how he like had to retire basically?
I mean, I'm sure it contributed. Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot going on there. But like he has teach tape block destruction with his shoulder for a big dude on the edge.
Like look at his feet. Look at his feet. Look at his hips. His feet are like it's like he's about to do the splits, and then he has high hips on top of it.
Yeah, you should be looking for V of the neck type stuff. This foot should be way tighter. It should be foot in the ground and near foot into him as your shoulder.
And he's like trying to brace instead of apply like forward force.
It
Like
looks like he's trying to play patty cake.
it looks even worse from the wide angle.
Yeah, that might be his worst rep ever.
And like relative to the play, it's weird because the defender in front of him is losing ground too, but kill the 175-pound receiver, man. Like that's their best player, right? Alabama's best player. You have an opportunity to knock out, like hit. You have the opportunity to hit their best player, like make him feel something.
Which is the lack of football type stuff to him. And
So,
again, it looks kind of like a finesse corner just playing there, not a safety.
I told you before the draft that we were messaging. He was felt to me like a corner who got miscast as a safety because of his size. Every coaching staff that's had him is like, you're so big, you should be a safety. But his football skills aren't safety skills; they're corner skills.
And like, we'll never know if Pete Carroll's Raiders were going to take him because obviously the Seahawks traded ahead of the Raiders and it was highly theorized. But it is interesting that the Raiders in the third round took the Iowa State convert from receiver who played some corner, step kicks, is really long and tall. I do wonder if they would have taken Emmanwori and played him as a corner.
Right. Because the Raiders did trade back after we traded up.
They did. The Royal We.
Yeah.
That looked like a pretty tough rep as well. We need to get to that the quarter rep.
So
No, it's fine.
3 high again, so he's technically like a half player.
Yeah,
or
no.
quarter.
He's a quarter,
No.
I think.
Yeah, you're right.
Or whatnot. Anyway. And this is his like open field speed. But again, it's like he's almost not trusting himself to fully open up. It's like jogging.
So if he's supposed to be like the height, weight, speed guy, there's no scenario this game where he could have flexed his number one trump card strength than right here. And this does not look like a player that is super stressed out or worried about bringing the guy down. Like now, he should be 100% speed already.
And trying to punch the ball if possible. I mean, you want to make the tackle, but it's Jalen Milroe who's a fast player, but like back yourself. You're still faster than him. Like at this point here, right? You can see block. Right, you can see the ball carrier is going to go through that hole. Go and meet him. Like, why are we jogging?
Be the hero. Be the hero, man. Like do something first round worthy. Like they put first round investment into him.
It looks like he's waiting to see if one of his teammates made a tackle. Is what that looks like. But,
diffusion of responsibility. He doesn't play like he's desperate to pat stat or like desperate like this play only works if I make the play type mentality. Mm-hmm. Which when you have an entire defense that has that mentality, they swarm like piranhas.
Yeah. Robbie Oots with a little hold here.
Is he 45?
Yeah, I think so. Maybe.
That's a thick boy.
Yeah.
Who is he blocking? Is he blocking Emmanwori?
Yeah.
So we got some hawk on hawk action. Okay.
Yeah, with the hawk carrying the football.
Now, how does if Emmanwori gets blocked by him, like straight up, I wouldn't mind it. But what you care about more is
the violence into the contact. The length is there, obviously, but the strike, like, is not a strike. And he's still quite high. But anyway.
Yeah.
Well, on your point, though, about, needing the sort of the football character and stuff, it's really important that, and this will 100% have been discussed, that Julian Love and the veterans in the locker room, but particularly Love because he plays safety, right? They get at him and they mentor him. I think there's been discussion about them sort of setting the standard, the sort of veteran presence on the team, and
Yeah,
everyone does speak about Love being that type of leader now on the team.
definitely.
McDonald values him for that, so that's obviously part of the vision there.
Because Love is a wise, mature guy too.
Yeah.
Um,
And how old is Emmanwori now? 23? 22?
he's young. I think he's 22.
Is he a young senior or a young fourth year?
Wasn't he a
Like
junior?
maybe he is a junior, which comes into it. I think I called him a senior earlier. Oh dear.
Yeah, he's 21 right now. He
Okay.
just
Yeah.
turned 21 in February. So,
Okay.
yeah,
So look,
I mean,
quite a bit of football
yeah.
relative.
I mean, at 21 years old, you're a baby in general. Like his whole football mentality could change in a year or two for any reason, you know.
Right, and like, when your defense is getting like shifted to crap and everyone's busting assignments, that can be disheartening for a young guy, like in
You could
terms
have
of
a lot of
football effort.
thinking going on, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, back to our point about how it's felt like he got worse throughout his college career. Maybe he played better his freshman year because it's kind of like the ignorance is bliss thing. You just play
Yeah, maybe he's
free.
come from a high school where it was
You're not
fun, everyone's
thinking.
playing free,
Yeah.
you're just playing ball.
Maybe the
You're,
more they made him think, the less he kind of played it naturally and instinctively.
I mean, that's a really nice transition.
Yeah, this is good here. So,
I think I said pre-draft, and then when they drafted him, when he's able to play top down, square, and not pedal, so he's not
mm,
opened up, he's not had the pedal, he's still playing flat. He's very hoppy, but like there's a nice shuffle here. He hasn't crossed his feet over. He's square enough. This hip is still pointing down here rather than up this way. When it's like, and
yep.
he's seeing the key, he can make some interesting things happen. Like that's a very intriguing.
And so what is he doing? Is he poaching as the weak side quarter?
Yeah, I think it's
The,
quarters, and I mean quarters cover through the sight thing. I'd say quarters, and I think he's just poaching here. Yeah,
that looks like a quarters drop from the
it
field
does.
safety
It does.
too.
Yeah, yeah, and yeah, yeah. But yeah, this is a nice play. And does Jalen want to throw it there? Maybe briefly. Not. It's not really the play though, is it? I mean, coverage wise, this is the weak spot, right? But and you would wonder with how that route distribution plays out. Right?
Yeah.
Really, we should be. But that's a scheme thing. If anything, I don't think they were doing that. But you should be shoving the coverage over here because you're getting 4 to this side, and you've only got 3 underneath defenders. So you're not going to be covering this bit very well. You're wasting 2 deep guys for this one route. Anyway, that's scheme stuff. But yeah, nice transition.
Oof. Jalen.
What didn't you like about this? Did they
Well,
get
he just got mollywopped.
you gotta be hot off this side? Oh, they've tried run draw. Oh dear. People are saying. So like the weird buzz thing again. With a slot match. Seam alert. That's fine.
Yeah.
Not much space. So like in the NFL, we spoke about how he'll be to the short side. Obviously, the short side in the NFL is not as long, or we'd like him to the short side, right? Just because less spatial stress, more opportunity to play with greater control more often, and less moving parts generally. Although to the short side of the field, Griff, things do happen a bit quicker. So we got turnover. same coverage again with like him being the carry player as a buzz defender. What do you think about Milrow here?
Um,
Just can't be thrown. Like, I don't know
yeah,
what he saw. He
he
just
doesn't see he
never
doesn't
saw
see
that
the
guy.
hang defender at all.
Yeah. I mean, it's just crap concept for what they're getting. But yeah. Like, where's the ball actually meant to go here?
Yeah, that's not good. That's not great field vision.
We're trying to get to that quarters play, aren't we?
Oh, this one, no, it's coming up. It might be this drive.
Yeah, sounds right. I like the readiness to break. Oh, I shouldn't have skipped past that. I think that was poor pursuit. But anyway, we get the idea there. I think it is this next play. Or maybe the next play. But yeah, I
Does he
think
get
maybe this
cracked
drive.
again here?
Yeah, he does, yeah. Kind of.
No, that's fine. That's fine. He finds a way to work over top of it.
It's pretty timid. The receiver kind of takes the wrong path, but at least, yeah. Oh, okay. This seems interesting. That's a very interesting rep. Man on the slot.
Wait, is this the play?
I think it's man to man. I think it's cover zero. They finally get into 7-man protection. It's crazy though. They didn't have a check for when teams did that.
Yeah,
Like,
they were just hot the whole time.
yeah. So, no, well, the defense though, like they got 7-man protection and just would run it, play cover
Oh,
zero still.
gotcha. South Carolina. All right, so
He's expecting this help
you're
in
right.
the middle of the field, right?
It is man. You're right.
So he's playing for that, but and the condensed nature and the switch release element is threatening that this guy could be his new guy and this guy goes out here because they're gonna in and out that, but it's still not the best.
Well, he's late to see it, and then he compounds it by how much he opens up for the vertical.
I it's almost an eyes issue as well, right? Like
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, it starts with the eyes always.
he just thinks that they've switched and they didn't. And then he kind of realizes, oh no, they didn't, and then he's already here. And again, that hip is here, like it's facing this way. It's very hard to then pivot back. If it was just slightly less open, it would be so much easier. And like I said, he's playing with the context of we're pressuring, we've got two guys helping, they're not doing the best job, they're not doing a Leonard Williams type job. But then, if you're pressuring, you could be slightly more aggressive and more cautious with how you open that hip. I don't know.
He's just so worried, man, about being able to stay even on a vertical.
Which he's good at, but then when he's good at doing that on the fade, Griff, it's kind of, you don't want to caveat it, but you're kind of like, well, yeah, you damn better be, because that's the route you're playing for most of the time.
Right. Like, it's like a batter sitting on a pitch, like
Yeah.
expecting a fastball, so you anticipate every pitch like it's a fastball, and then when it's not a fastball, you're kind of screwed. But we would need Ty here for that analogy.
No, I get it. Hey, don't forget what my job is.
That's right. Do you guys talk about sitting on pitches a lot? The whole game theory between batter and pitcher,
I can't comment on that as IP.
I feel like batter and pitcher is similar to like edge rusher and tackle, or corner and receiver.
It is one-on-one
Yeah.
isolation.
All right, so this is it's better.
Well, again, because he's square, right,
He's
and his
square.
feet are small, he can put his foot in the ground and he's there.
His T
He's right.
step is efficient, and he's
He's right
there.
in the window. He doesn't get too wide. He doesn't get too high. He pedals it with short, choppy steps.
And
He stays.
if the ball was thrown, he might be available to get an arm around the body. And again,
Oh,
that's
definitely.
Ryan Williams.
And I really like how in his pedal he has taken that step off the inside with the hip. Like he's gained the leverage required to cover that ish.
Yeah.
So it's a good rep. Oh, this looks interesting. Yep, yep. Okay. Again, fairly solid. His read would be this type of route. He's reading the quarterback. He's not straying too far from the hash. I hate that. I don't want to nitpick movement too much, but there's no need to cross like that. You have so much depth. Why are we crossing? You're locking yourself for being able to access here. It's adding so many steps. Like you are now, this guy's not threatening you. It makes it harder for him to redirect back here. If anything, if Jalen was like quicker to, I think he thinks check down now with the pass rush, but if he's quicker to pivot back here, there is actually kind of a window when there shouldn't be. Is that harsh? He's reading the quarterback's eyes, so it maybe is a bit harsh.
I do think that he kind of plays it weird when he is kind of a final three player,
Which
whether
is
as
here, right?
whether as a buzz hook or a quarters poaching, quarter safety poaching. I do think it's weird.
I don't know what he was meant to do here. I would imagine it was like this, given that they move the front and they get slice and these guys are falling back. But
so
it shows, yeah.
That's kind of fine though. So I think he's the B gap player.
Yeah, but then I think because they moved their front, I think he's.
Oh, does he get all the way into the B gap? So he probably just has to fit off and fall back with the
Yeah.
fullback.
Yeah. But it shows he's a bit of a lump. I don't know what the back's doing. I guess
he does fall back
doesn't...
technically.
Yeah.
Because he's in the A gap. So
his length though is obviously gonna be handy. It's just if you could get him a bit angrier. Get him a bit angry, give him a technique to take out a bit more of the anger and
kind of more clued into his key, like letting that inform his immediate footwork.
Yeah.
Like all those things would help each other, like a positive spiral, like an upward.
But this is
spiral.
why, that's why I said like he's a coach's. You can see why like a Carl Scott would fall in love with the idea of what you could do. That's why I was a bit more bullish on him. If you find the role having a really high ceiling still, but
it's fair. That's fair. Have we seen one play though this game where reflects his combine, like showing like his combine applying to the field?
No.
Even his good plays aren't necessarily derived from his athleticism here.
No, this is unusual. I don't think we can ding him for it. But yeah, it's not great given like someone has to not run with that. Why are we doubling that route? I don't know what Jalen's doing here, to be honest. Pressure. There you go. Good job. He's very calm in these spots. Like, that's a horrid spot to be in. Like, he's calm. He's like, okay, I can't get out of here. Oh, where's my check down? There we go. And they've set up a screen, so. That probably the best tackle we've seen from him. Well, the only tackle. But this is actually good, Griff. This is actually coming downhill a bit more. And
kind of shuffling to the ball carrier, breaking down.
Going, and, it's hard to get low for his size. But eyes through the thighs, being in a position where that step
Yeah.
there, that he takes a little step with his right foot, but it enables him to break down a bit. So it's a short stride into the tackle, eyes
Yep.
through the thighs, head behind, wrap and roll. Like perfect. That
Yep.
you got to get the pursuit angles right, then the approach footwork right, and then it kind of comes alive for him as a tackler.
Agreed.
But it's just disturbing that there's like that's an anomaly of a play almost.
Right. Like, why don't we see more of that? But it shows that he can do it, that it's there. Oh man, this play. So he gets beat. I mean, he technically gets beat here. This play could have been strung out between 0 and 3 yards, but Milrow ends up getting 6, 7 yards. And in my mind, it's just thinking like, if you're Milrow's an elite athlete, it's elite athlete versus elite athlete, and
Show off.
yeah, show off. Like he's kind of pacing it out here instead of
Like
just
he doesn't want to miss the tackle, but yeah, it was disappointing.
like make an elite play. So he's kind of
But he's
fanning this
obviously,
out.
but he's obviously conscious about breaking down because he hadn't done that earlier in the game. So it's kind of like mistakes compounding.
It's like he does it early though.
Yeah, yeah.
So it becomes a bit of a cakewalk for Milrow there. But again, it's tough because Milrow's an elite athlete too. But you just want to see him make a play, like do something cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If he was a third round pick, I wouldn't be like making a big deal about that, which is where I thought he should have gone.
Right, and what we're talking about here is essentially DK Metcalf, and again, DK Metcalf got paid a lot of money, but
Well,
the
DK
DK
Metcalf,
Metcalf pick was used to trade up.
yeah, yep.
I don't know why that made me cough. Can you remember when the quarters play was?
No, it was that man play, that blitz coverage
Is
play,
that one?
and
Okay.
I just had it. I remembered it wrong.
I thought there was another one, like a bad robot.
He might have had one on the final drive of this game.
Oh, okay, what do you think of Milrow here? Tough. I like how he throws this though. So he's seeing that this is locked up and the corner's playing down here, and he knows he has this crosser. So he's like, I think does he get man-to-man indicator? Yeah. Or pressure. But he's seen how they're playing. Like, yeah, this is him trying to be a gamer. Like he's trying to pop it over the corner's head. It's a good play from the corner. Who's the corner? Chat. Who's number 3? Is that number 3? Number 8? Number 3. So interesting. He didn't throw to the. It's the shotty staple, Griff.
Yeah, it is. Spear or
Yeah, we think. Russell Wilson once called it spear. Anyway. Chat, we could keep watching the game, but we're conscious, I think, that we want these to be somewhat rewatchable and have a bit of a tempo to them. Hopefully you enjoyed that. Now, again, started with this caveat, but like that was one of his poorest games, and there was still some promising signs. So we're not like all the way out on
we
Warriors
could
podcast.
watch if we want to at a certain point we could watch the Ole Miss game or maybe the Clemson game where he shows where you see more of the theory of him.
I mean, I'd be up for that.
Yeah, so we can hammer that out at some point in the future.
But if thank you for your comments and for tuning in so early, particularly if you're on the West Coast. There's some good comments actually going on, Griff. So Kerry's saying it makes me question the coaching he's gotten. Technique and learn his drops discipline can be taught, right? I mean, absolutely to all of that. with also the caveat not to cape for coaches, but it's really difficult in college, given the turnover, to have enough the right amount of schematic diversity you feel you have to have in college against these high-powered offenses with quite a lot of variety. But then also you got the high turnover with NIL and getting new guys in each year, and also they're younger guys. So I think being a college DC is very, very difficult. And I think South Carolina did some cool stuff, but positional coaching wise, there were signs for not just Nick Emmanwori, but everyone that it is lacking. And I think the part of the attraction of the pick is Mike McDonald, Kyle Scott, who had him on that top 30 visit, they'll have seen that and been like, this guy, if we can get this clicking, it's going to pop. And there's a lot. And as a coach, if you see clear areas that need improving, but you can coach that, or you feel you can coach that, and you get on with other guy, you think he's a good character, good football character, then that's exciting. And clearly it was someone, McDonald, I think, may have been a bit disappointed at not getting in the first round. Like, they had a high grade in him. If you read John Boyle's draft room inside piece, they had a first round grade on him. So Cody saying, let's hope he can transition to corner because he's not ready to be a safety. At least I trust this coaching staff to get the most out of him. There's aspects of safety play where he's playing like press in the slot, as Griff said, which could be like in a nickel role, but also safeties can play press in the slot, press on a tight end, off man coverage on a tight end, playing from too high into the curl flat and like reading deep to short and stuff where it looks really good. So there's flashes of like different facets of safety play which look great. It's just how you get that all together into a thing where he's gonna be a net positive rather than a net negative. And again, from a McDonald perspective, that's exciting because scheme wise, that appeals. Griff, anything else you want to add? We got a donation from Shiv. Good to see you, Shiv. Thank you.
Mr. Shiv, very kind
I
of you,
don't understand
sir.
that reference. I don't watch.
Blood for the Blood King.
I don't watch. Is that a children's film reference, Griff, or?
It's from a book series, I'm pretty sure.
Oh,
but it's become a Shiv is an author, so that makes sense. That tracks for Shiv.
Highly successful author.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Read his stuff.
Yeah. Check out Shiv. Right then. Anything else?
Until
we'll just
next
be
time.
Repeating ourselves.
Anything else? What did you mean by that, Maddie?
No, not that shit. No, don't do that shit.
I am strong and resilient. I am allowed to feel good. I am enough. I am beautiful. I am grateful.